Hi. So I had this idea yesterday. It is kind of stressful, a bit anxiety inducing. I talked about anxiety yesterday for quite a bit. Honestly, I think yesterday I was more anxious to do 100 bodyweight squats than I was to do 1,000 today. And that's not because, I'm like crazy or something. I think it just comes down to the fact that yesterday I left that until the end of the day. And I just let that anxiety build up and build up and build up, and it just gets to the point where it's unbearable. You got to do something about it, or you got to live with it. And sometimes doing something about it means looking for an escape, looking for a way to lift that metaphorical burden off your shoulders. That's not what I want, and that's definitely not what I need. What I need is action. Action is the best way to get rid of this kind of anxiety. Today, still, I was quite anxious about this, I'll admit. It took me about 2 hours from when I said I was gonna do it until I actually started doing it. Just because I know what's waiting for me. And I didn't really plan this out too well. I kind of just said, hey, I'm gonna try to do 1,000 squats. I'm just gonna try it. Let's see what happens. I've done, like 500 squats. I've done that a few times. I've done hundreds of squats, many, countless times. I've done 701. That was my PR, actually. I did that over the summer last year. I did 701 squats on a broken foot, mind you. So I've done stuff like this before, and that 701 was pretty tough when I did it. But I knew if I could do that, I could go a little farther. I could maybe do 800. I could maybe do 900. My goal is 1,000. Let's see if I could do 1,000 squats. And so that's what I did. I mean, you already see it. It's already, I'm in it by now. I recommend trying something like this. Check where your limits are. See what you can do. This kind of thing will keep you up at night. Maybe, didn't keep me up. I slept fine. I slept like a baby. But I knew today I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to do 1,000 bodyweight squats in a row. It's gonna be a really long video. Took me a long time. It took me, well, as you can see, it took me like 53 and a half minutes, maybe a little more. And I started going slow. I set a relatively slow pace at the end just because, well, I don't know. I won't say because anything, but I just did that. I just started going real slow, breathing on every single breath. I didn't want to stop at all. And I did still stop a little bit, stop, take a few breaths, keep going. I never moved, but I had to adjust my feet quite a bit. I had to, just do a calf raise because there's so much tension in your legs doing this kind of thing. There's so much tension that you just got to stretch out a little bit. And so I did a calf raise. I get on my heels a little bit, try to stretch my toes and get back into it right away. Breathing on every single rep. wasn't easy, but I ended up doing 1,031 squats in a row. That's how many I counted, right? So I don't know exactly how many I did. I'm not going to go through and watch all 50 plus minutes of this, counting every single squat. In my head, I counted to 1,031 squats. I did 1,030, and then the very last one, I did a slow rep, pause at the bottom, just appreciate the moment, and get back up. It's not easy, this kind of thing. In fact, I might even say this was kind of difficult. 1,000 squats in under an hour. You know, I was thinking about this. Right after I finished this, I started thinking about this. I looked up the world record. I looked up a few records, okay? So, the world record for most squats in 1 minute is like 84, which is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. And I think these are like to parallel, so not like going all the way down, not ATG. I'm doing ATG. The first maybe like minute I was going to parallel or about there, just because I thought this is going to be a lot of squats, don't want to do ATG. Nah. I switched that up real quick, went right back to ATG. That's my bread and butter, and finished it out that way. But basically, the world record is 84 squats in 1 minute. In 1 hour, it's like 5,155. I think that's what it was, which just like is so crazy. That means I would have to do about 5 times more squats in an hour. Five times more. It's a lot of squats. 5,000 squats in an hour. The world record for 24 hours is 27,000. I think it was just broken a few days ago. It's amazing what some people are capable of. So, that doesn't really interest me, honestly, comparing myself to these people. I just thought it'd be cool to see, you know, what can I do? Can I do 1,000 squats in a row? How long is it going to take me? I wanted to do it in under an hour. I blew that out of the water. I did pretty good. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And this kind of thing's not for everybody. Most people wouldn't do this. Most people wouldn't even consider doing this. They'd say, you're crazy. Why would you do that? That would never work. You can't do that. There's some people that would say, straight up, that's not possible. You can't even do that many squats in a row. And for them, it's true. They couldn't do that. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I had different plans. I wanted to challenge myself today. I have lately been feeling unfulfilled. Feeling like I should be doing more. And that partially comes down to the fact that I have just been doing less. I've just been doing less. I stopped planking. I reached a goal with planking. I got a 11-minute plank. That was pretty good. That was pretty much all I wanted to do with the plank. I wanted to get a, pretty long one, more than 10 minutes, and that was it. So once I got to 11 minutes, I stopped planking every day. With deadlifting, I learned how to deadlift, my form got better, and so don't have to deadlift every day, right? Honestly, it comes down to me being like kind of silly with the way I exercise. Doing something every day is really great until you stop, because you leave a void in your life, and that's no fun. And I've been living with that void for a few days, and I've really been unhappy with it. I haven't filled it with anything productive. So today I decided, this is it. Let's see if I could do 1,000 squats. Let's see, because I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know. When I did 701 over the summer, I remember the last like 200 or 100 reps, my quads were so pumped. My quads and the tendons that attach to my knees were so absolutely pumped, it felt like an inflated balloon. Literally. It felt literally like my legs were gonna pop. Like they were absolutely engorged. I haven't felt anything like that before. I've been tired, but not like that. Not like that was like the point where I was thinking like, you know, if I keep going, my quad's gonna rip straight off my knee. Like it's gonna rip straight off the bone. And that's how pumped it was. That's all it was. It's just a crazy pump in the legs. I didn't really feel that today. And that tells me that I've gotten to the point where I could do even more. I mean, I had that in the back of my mind, like the thought of potential injury, but you know, that's all it was. It was in the back of my mind. I'm aware of it. I'm feeling how my body feels and just keeping track, you know, making sure nothing goes wrong, because if you're not aware of how you're feeling, if you're not aware of how your form is, something could definitely go wrong. You could definitely take a trip to Snap City doing something like this, especially if you're not trained. Especially if you have been sedentary and you go all out all at once. You could definitely hurt yourself doing something like this. So I had that thought in the back of my mind, like, be careful. You know, you don't know what could happen. Be careful. Really feel this out. And excuse me, I gotta fill up gas and then make a stop at the store. So I'll be right back as soon as I'm done with that. So I got all my shopping done. I filled my car up with gas. I think I was talking about the potential risk of injury. Right, 1,000 squats today in a row. There is a risk of injury, of course. Doing anything, there's a risk of injury. Now, it's not a big deal. You just gotta deal with it. You can get injured doing anything if you're doing it wrong. If you're doing it right, usually you're not going to get injured. That's the way it goes. Doing 1,000 squats is something that, you know, a lot of people aren't going to be able to do. It's something that people are gonna get injured, people are gonna quit, people are going to come up with an excuse and not even try. People are gonna do 20 or 50 or 100, even 200 and say, today wasn't the day. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. That could have been me. You could fear the risk of injury. I had that idea of the potential of being injured in my head. Of course I did. I've always got that idea in the back of my mind. What if I just, crumple under the weight of this barbell? What if? You gotta, recognize that feeling. You've got to acknowledge it and understand it. You've also got to be real. Like, is 10 pounds more really gonna crumple me? Probably not. Is one more rep really gonna break me? Probably not. Honestly, having gone through it now, 1,000 squats in a row is not even that hard. For me, right? I don't want to sound like cocky or like a jerk, but that's just the truth. That's like someone telling you 10 muscle-ups isn't hard when the guy can do 50 in a row. Yeah, it's not hard for him. That's true. He's just at that level. I've just gotten to the level where high rep bodyweight squats aren't the most difficult thing for me. And that's not to say that they're easy. It's just, I could keep going, and I know I could keep going. Now, if you added some constraints, like do it in this amount of time, do it this many reps per minute, okay, maybe then it's gonna get a lot harder. Maybe then I break. Maybe then I can't do it. If you said do 1,000 squats in 30 minutes, I don't know about that. It took me 53 minutes. I don't know if I could cut off 23 minutes, like half the time. Are you kidding me? I don't know. And still go ATG all the way down, all this stuff. I don't know. But the way I did them, yeah, I could do that again now. Now that I know that, of course I could do it again. It brings me back to certain ideas that I've been constantly revisiting this past year. One of these being, things don't get easier, you just get better. One squat never got easier. It never got easier. It never required any, less effort. It required just as much effort as it did before. It's just my body's become more efficient, maybe more muscular. I've gotten better. It's not that, squats are just easy for everybody now. Now that I've gotten good at squats, everybody's good at squats. That's not it. I just got a little better. The other idea is the cookie jar. David Goggins, the cookie jar. The infamous cookie jar. What is this idea? Basically, every difficult thing that you have ever done, you have it with you. Right up here. Somewhere. You have it. You've got that memory of it. You've got that pain that is built into you now. And whenever you're going through something tough, you can pull it out. You can pull out that memory, feel that pain, live that moment, and keep going a little longer because you've been through it. You know. it got tough, honestly. It did get tough, just like painful tough. Not difficult tough, but painful tough, if that makes any sense. After about 50 squats, no. After 20 squats, you know, my legs are starting to burn a little bit. Starting to complain, like, this is gonna take a while, right? This is gonna take a while. Why am I doing this? Starting those complaints right away. And it's automatic. It's automatic, right? I feel that pain, my body reacts a certain way. Now, what do you do about it? You just gotta push through it. You just push through it, you ignore it, or deal with it. Maybe not ignore it, but, you know, recognize it. Okay, 20 squats done. This sucks. 50 squats. Oh, this is not great. 80 squats. My lower back starts burning, right? It starts popping, honestly. I don't know what that was all about, but my lower back was popping throughout this whole set. Pop, pop, every rep on the way up. Pop, every other rep, every fifth rep. Just popping. Don't know what that was. It's stretching out a little bit. You know, there's a lot of blood flowing through that area. Because I'm doing ATG, my back actually flexes a little bit at the bottom, or I guess it extends. You know, because the butt wink, the lower back will naturally, you know, bend a little bit. So maybe that's what it was, but it was not comfortable. And squats are honestly a lower back exercise. Like, my lower back was absolutely lit up. After the 80th rep, I felt my lower back the whole way through. You feel it in your feet. Your feet start going numb. You start losing blood flow in your feet. I gotta, you know, I already brought this up, but I gotta lean back, you know, stretch out my toes. I gotta get on the balls of my feet, stretch my calves. It's a lot of blood flow. It's a lot of, you know, traffic going through that area. And it's great, right? It's great stuff. It's just not super comfortable in the moment. And I really wanted to, like, pop my back, just like stretch out my low back. But I was telling myself, like, okay, halfway through, like 500, I'll stretch out my lower back. Then I did, you know, 600. I was like 800. I'll stretch out my lower back. Got to 800. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 900. Stretch out. Come on. Nope. 1,000. Nope. 1,031 completed, and, you know, I finally stretched out my back a little bit. Felt good, but it's so tight after doing that. It gets so tight. It's a lot of stress doing that kind of thing, but it's incredible. It is so good for you. Like absolutely nothing else. High rep squats. I don't want to bring this up. I will though, just to be completely transparent. So I used to smoke a lot, right? I used to smoke for years. And I only quit last year. Like, really, this whole year, 2024, I've been clean. No smoke, no liquor, nothing. Completely sober, drug-free. And lately, just this past month, the past few weeks, I've really been kind of dwelling on some, I don't know, memories, my past. I've really been thinking about, you know, all this junk that I used to do. And there's a certain part of me which is reminiscent. I don't know what the proper word would be. Nostalgic. I have this feeling of nostalgia tied to these things: cannabis, nicotine, and yeah, I've just been thinking about that lately, and I've been feeling drawn to it as well. I've been feeling drawn to this kind of stuff, specifically nicotine lately. Like, I haven't smoked in months, many months, and still, it's like, what's that saying about the devil's playground? An idle mind is the devil's playground. I haven't been doing enough with myself, and I know that. I know I haven't been doing enough with myself, and so my mind wanders. It wanders back. What would I used to do? How would I used to cope? How would I used to escape? You know, how would I used to ignore these thoughts? And what would it be? Drugs. Drugs is the easiest way out. Just do some drugs. And my mind's been wandering lately, but you know, it's not a good thing. It just means I don't have enough to do, or I'm not giving myself enough to do. I'm not prioritizing the right things. Potentially, you know, I stopped. I really lowered my workload in terms of fitness, and part of that was just in preparation for starting this new program, but I put it off a week, and guess what? That mind wanders. Mind keeps wandering. So it's about time I get into something more serious. You know, that's part of what drove me to do this today, is the fact that I needed something. I really needed something. I need to push myself, and not at the end of the day. I need to push myself in the morning, you know, which, you know, I still put this off like 2 hours, but that's not too bad. I woke up a little earlier, you know, took a few hours to get myself there, but once I got myself there, I completed a satisfactory job. Now I'm home, so I will cut this out, be back later, and I want to talk about my gym. I'm going to be starting going back to the gym soon, so I'll see you then. Hello for the third and final time in this video. It's 12:20, past midnight, so technically it's tomorrow now. I did these 1031 squats yesterday, technically, and as you can see, I'm still going. I'm only about halfway done here. I said that I wanted to talk about my gym, and what I meant by that is what my gym means to me, because it means quite a lot. I'll give a little bit of background information. My gym is a martial arts gym. We practice Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I practice all of those to a certain degree. We do all that, and there's also a little section for weightlifting, calisthenics. It's not much, but it's there. There are heavy bags, punching bags, there's pads if you want to hit pads, whatever you want. Whatever has got to do with martial arts, kick shields, leg shields, belly shields, we got it. And of course, that little bit of weightlifting stuff, which I'm actually the person in that gym who probably uses it more than anyone else. My gym means a lot to me. It's not like the traditional weightlifting gym at all. In a regular gym, you're a lot more alone. And I guess I don't mean that for every gym because, of course, there are gyms with trainers. So that's kind of different. It's kind of similar to my gym, I guess. My gym always has an instructor present. Always. Now, some of the instructors are better at certain things. Some of them don't know so much about weightlifting. Some of them know, very little about weightlifting. And all of them know quite a bit about fighting. But there's always someone there, whether that be to give me advice, whether that be to just have someone to talk to, or even for me to offer them advice, because that's also happened quite a few times. As adults, we talk, we conversate, everyone's got their own issues, right? And it's good to have somebody there. It's nice, it's great, even. We're social creatures. My gym's incredibly important to me. And for probably the past 6 months, I've really only been able to go there for like 2 months in between really just illness, sickness. I kept getting sick. I, catch a virus, catch a cold, catch the flu. I got freaking ringworm. And it's been keeping me out of the gym. It's been really annoying. I brought this up a little while ago, but on temptation, on thoughts about my past. I made a lot of mistakes in my past. I've done more drugs than I'd like to admit. I've smoked, I've drank, I've, made a lot of mistakes. And that kind of stuff is an outlet. It's not a positive outlet, though. It's a negative outlet. When you do that kind of stuff, it just compounds, it compresses. You don't actually resolve any of those problems. Think about it like this. If you're stressed about something and you think, I'm stressed, I'm going to have a drink. In this case, I'm referring to an alcoholic beverage, of course. And this is your mindset, right? I'm going to have a drink because I'm stressed. Guess what? Yeah, you get a bit buzzed. Yeah, you maybe even get drunk. You maybe even, black out, pass out, whatever. That stress still exists. It's still there. The underlying issue still exists. It's still there. You didn't do anything to treat the root cause. The roots are still sick. There's a great analogy that I like from Gary Brecka. He says, and if you haven't heard of Gary Brecka, I advise you to look him up. He seems like a smart guy. He says when an arborist goes to look at a tree, if you call an arborist and you've got a sick tree, what they're going to do is they don't look at the sickness, they don't look at the leaves, they don't look at the trunk, they don't look at the branches. They test the soil. Because, as it turns out, if that tree is sick, something about the nutrients in the soil is off. Simple as that. There is a root cause. Something at the level of the roots is causing a deficiency, stress, sickness, illness, injury. Something is causing this tree to suffer. And it's not where you think it's going to be. It's not in the wilted leaves. It's not in the cracked up trunk. It's not in the rotten branches. It's in the roots. There is a root cause that must be resolved. I really like this analogy because it seems to be true for just about anything. I have these thoughts sometimes, very often. Thought of have a drink. Think about this. I've been sober since August of the year 2022. Is that like, what, 18 months, 19 months? I don't even know. I stopped counting. 20 months? I don't know. I've been sober for like a year and a half. I still think about having a drink. Still. Sometimes I'll get stressed, I think. Would be nice. Sometimes I'm not even stressed. I'm just bored. Sometimes I'm just bored, I think. Yeah, would be nice to have a drink right now. Guess what? Do something else. Get up. I'm not being busy enough. Sometimes I want to smoke. That's the truth. I've put it into my system, this idea, this thought, and now I have to deal with it to resolve it. It's not always easy. I'm not saying that to complain. I'm just saying something has to be done about it. It won't resolve itself. The gym is almost a cure, honestly. It's not like a failsafe. I don't know if I'm even using that right. It's not perfect, right? It's not perfect. There's plenty of flaws in the gym. I like a lot of the people there. I don't care much for a lot of the people there. There's some people there I don't even get along with. That's fine. Deal with it. What I meant to say was it's almost a cure. Almost. There are so many times in my life where I've gone out of the way to smoke, to drink. Hey, call this person, help me get liquor. When I was underage. In a video game, of course. Hey, help me get cigarettes, help me get this, help me get weed, cannabis, blah, blah, blah. Going really out of my way for this stuff. And now my gym literally is right next to a smoke shop. Literally. Right next to it. It's like when I stopped, this stuff decided to come to me. It's like, come back. Come back. The temptation. It's always there. Sometimes it's easier for me to deal with it. And I've noticed those are the times when I'm actually really putting in the work. I'm really putting in the work. When I'm really grinding, when I'm really on my stuff, when I really got a mission, a purpose, a task that I'm after, it's easy. I don't think twice. I just say no and I turn around. But if I'm not there, sometimes there are lapses. And these are created. I'll admit that. Like recently, I brought this up. I was doing a lot. There was a point in time, very recently where I was squatting heavy every single day. I was deadlifting every day. I was doing push-ups every day. I was doing plank every day. I was doing weighted pull-ups every day. I was training martial arts nearly every day, sometimes twice a day. And I was running as well as Olympic lifting and auxiliary lifts. It was a lot, right? Like 3 up to 4 hours of training a day. And I was worn out, absolutely worn out. But guess what? I didn't have time to think about getting high, about smoking, about drinking. I simply didn't have time because I was after something. I had a goal in mind. I was saying to myself, 225. You're going to squat 225 every single day. You're going to do these weighted pull-ups every day for this many reps. Guess what? You're going to deadlift every day. Guess what? You're going to do 15 minutes of planking every day, 100 push-ups every day, 2 hours of martial arts. You're going to go and spar. You're going to get beat up. And tomorrow, you're going to do the same exact thing. And you're going to go on a freaking 4.3 mile run. And that made it like automatic. It made it part of my lifestyle to just say no immediately. And when I let that go, when I decided, all right, this is good, I got enough out of this, I gave myself some breathing room. And sometimes it's good, but you've got to fill that breathing room with something. And if you leave it dead space for too long, whatever's going to come into that is not going to be ideal. It has to be intentional. It just has to. If it's not intentional, then you're not in control. And that's kind of what happened to me. That's what I did. I don't want to say happened to me because I did this, right? I am the cause. What happened? I went from training, multiple hours a day. Now still, I was training, an hour at least a day. And also, I'll say training an hour a day. What about those other 2 hours I was training? Well, now I'm on social media. Now, guess what? I was editing a lot of videos. Now, I'm editing less videos. What am I doing? Well, a little bit of that time went to researching. I'm doing some research on the human body, right? Like different exercises, how to perform them, why to perform them, what's optimal nutrition, all this stuff. I'm doing some research, but that's not everything. And that kind of just like came into place on its own as well. That wasn't really super intentional by me either. I mean, it was to a certain degree, but not entirely. Not the way it came together. And because I didn't immediately grasp this, I'm not really fully in control of it now. And I have to fully grasp it to take back control. When I was going to my gym very consistently, before I got kind of sick a few months ago, there was no thought about, going back, smoking, drinking, doing all this garbage. Just because I was so busy. I was so busy. Working out, left me no time for that stuff. And I'll bring this up too. I'm a single guy in my 20s, right? In my early 20s. So I've got no family. I mean, I got my parents, but I don't have any kids to look after. I don't have a woman to look after. I don't have a mortgage payment to pay. I don't have all these expenses. I got to pay for food, but most of these expenses I just don't have. And so it's responsibility. That's what it comes down to, is responsibility. I haven't had so many responsibilities, or I haven't taken on enough responsibilities lately to my satisfaction, to my necessity. I have not taken on as much responsibility. Because of this, I could feel myself leaning this same way again, leaning down towards that dark path, smoking. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, honestly. I quit last year, and it's been good. I've been very consistent, I've been powerful, I've been working hard, getting a lot stronger in a short period of time. But you have to stay on top of it. You just have to. Today was a good day. Today was a really good day. Having to talk over this squatting has really made me think about what it really is. 53.5 minutes of pure squatting. That brings a smile to my face. I'm going to feel this tomorrow. Even though I'm not like that sore, I know I'm going to feel it tomorrow. And that's a good thing to know. That's a good feeling, actually, to know that I put in, 53.5 minutes of pure squatting today. 1,000 reps done. And it's not even like for a record. I just wanted to do this. I just wanted to get after it. There's this guy on YouTube. He's a endurance athlete. His name is Ivan Kucinich, and he does planks. And he does them for a long time. I think today he posted a new video, 40-minute abdominal plank. He posted one a week ago, an hour abdominal plank. His record is like 3 hours, 40 minutes, right? Like, incredible. Someone asked him about how he does what he does. How can you do this? How can someone train like you? How can someone become like you? And I'm going to butcher this, but he said something along the lines of, well, I remember he said this. He said, always bite. I thought that was interesting. Always bite. But he said, you have to listen to your soul. You have to listen to your soul and do what appeals to it. Do what fulfills your soul. You have to. That's how you have to train. He said, always train to your limits. Always. Always push yourself. And that resonates deeply with me. Today, even though I think I had more in me, I just know. I always got that one more squat in me. I could always do one more squat. I will say, I'm satisfied with how I did today. This appeals to my spirit. 1,031 squats. That feels good. Just to know it. Just to know, hey, the frontier. It goes farther out than I thought. The frontier's all the way out there. That's good to know. It makes me glad. And yet, some days, like, the bodyweight squats, those don't appeal as much to the spirit. They're good. They keep me active, and that's what I want. But it's not enough on its own. When I was doing a multitude of tasks, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, planks, when I was doing all that stuff, that was honestly fulfilling. Even though I kind of hated it, just because it is a lot. And doing it every day, that's something most people wouldn't do. It is fulfilling to know, like, another day, I did all these things. I got all these things done. And each one is like a little micro progression. Like 100 push-ups, nice. Tiny progression. 100 squats, nice. A little bit of progress. 30 pull-ups, great. A little bit of progress. All this stuff, adding on top of each other, accumulating into a productive day. That's what I liked about it. I didn't like everything individually, but I liked what it came up to. Days like today are a little different because I'm satisfied with the squats on their own. Yeah, I did do some seated calf raises, I did do some jaw training, but really, what is that in the grand scheme? It's a tiny bit. It's a teeny little piece. But 1,000 squats in a row, that's something else. That gets me hyped thinking about it. It's something else. And I'm not even saying that like a brag. It's just I did not actually think I could do it. Really. Try something like this for yourself. If you're still watching this, first off, thank you for sticking around. Secondly, push yourself. It might not be squats. It might not be push-ups. It might not be pull-ups. It might not be planking. It might be, I don't know, freaking lunges. I don't know what it is for you. Just do it. Maybe it's working overtime. Maybe that's literally it for you. Is you just want to work 16 hours a day. And that's good enough. Maybe you work a physical job. Maybe that's what it is for you. Whatever it is that appeals your spirit, your soul, you gotta do it. You gotta do it, because it'll keep you off the streets. It'll keep you clean. Today, kept me out of the smoke shop. And what more could I want? I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be back with some more squats tomorrow. Have a good night.